Now we've gone and converted all of our PyPoint data references to use substitution parameters to get the tag names. And we'd like to take this a step further and even have AF update or build tags for us, so that if we were to go in and add a new blower to the system, not only will we have all of our attributes specified for that new blower, but in the case of our PyPoint data references, we could also have AF go out and build these tags for us on the Pi server. So looking back to our library, let's take the equipment template and its power attribute again as our example. And here we have, again, our tag naming for the power and the UOM that we expect the incoming tag data to be in. I'm going to go to settings, and you see underneath this tag name section, we also have this checkbox with a tag creation option. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and you see it fills in a point type of float64. And let's see what other options we have for defining a tag. If I go over here and click on the ellipsis button, and I'll update this to be classic since that's what most tags we use on the Pi server are. And of course I can select the point type for whatever I think the underlying tag should be. I'll just select float32 since that's a common one. And you can see here that I have a full list, all kinds of point attributes and their values. So these should all be familiar if you've ever looked at tag configuration before or built tags on your own. There's things like the compression and exception settings, the descriptor or the engineering units that have been added as strings to Pi tags, and of course all the familiar location codes and point source that we use to define which interface is actually feeding data to the tag. So I can come in here and let's say I want to specify if this tag were coming from an OPC interface, and I wanted to specify my location codes for that, and maybe I wanted an exception max of 800 instead of 600. And you'll see that all the values that I change in here from the defaults are shown in bold to indicate that I've made the changes manually. And if I hit OK, you'll see that now all these different point attributes are listed with their values and separated by semicolons. I'll hit OK, all that information gets added over here to my configuration string. So again, the point class I specified, the point type, exception max, and then all these interface specific attributes have all been added. And if I go back to my element, take a look at my power tag, you can see that all of these point attributes show up out here for the specific tag that I'm getting for my substitution parameters. So that if I were to go to this attribute and right click on it, and I see this option here to create or update PyPoint, and if I were to select that option, AF would go out to the data archive server and it would update the configuration for the tag, and it would update all these point attributes for the tag. And additionally, if this tag didn't already exist on the Pi server, then AF would go and create that tag on the Pi server using the point attributes that I've specified in the configuration string. And that's what we would eventually like to do, so that anytime we create a new element, the set of tags for that element also gets created on the data archive, and if our interface is configured, it'll pick up those new tags and start feeding data to them, so that the whole process of building out a new element is completely seamless. We get all of our attributes specified, and additionally, all the attributes that use a PyPoint data reference will also have their tags on the data archive created automatically. We'll start receiving data from the interface as soon as the interface picks up the new tags. So let's go through and kind of see how that would work. If I go back to the library, we'll go back to Power. And here we'll look at a little shortcut for getting all these tag attributes. So you notice that there was this import button up here. If I use that, then I can actually search for a tag. As you can see, I've already got a search punched in here, but we have these tags we know use J and then the zone number and equipment code and a 0 in their name. So I've gone through and I've just selected J110, which is for zone 1 and the blower element of zone 1. So let's go ahead and pull that one in. And you see it's going to show me a list of all the different tag attributes that are specific to that blower tag and that are different from the current configuration that AF has. So I can choose to import these or not import these by using these checkboxes over here. I'm just going to go ahead and pull everything that's different into my configuration string. And another handy tool is, so you might notice here this description is specific to the blower and to zone 1, but when we create elements, we would like this descriptor to be specific to the actual piece of equipment and zone that we're creating. So let's take blower for example. And I actually get a little cheat sheet built in here. If I select on this right pointing arrow, I can go find attribute values, and I would want to substitute in the equipment type for that. And then for the zone 1, for where I have 1, I would want to use the zone number, which I'm actually getting from a higher level element. And you know what, I'm just going to do that one through the configuration string itself, since it's easier to find that way. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the rest of this one alone. Probably also want to fix the digits here in this reference tag so that they are not specific to the particular zone 1 blower tag, but will be substituted in based on the piece of equipment I'm building and the zone in which I'm building it. So let's just go ahead and accept things as they are. And I can make some corrections to my configuration string here using some of the substitution parameters I already have from the tag name. So if I want to replace this 1 in zone 1, I know I have this substitution parameter here that gives me the zone number. So I'll just copy that and paste for the 1. And then I want to use this whole set here for the zone number and equipment code. And I'll substitute that in here for the 11. Looks like I need to do that twice for these are calculated tags. And the point source should stay the same. These location codes are fine. And all the security strings are okay. So I think I'm good to go on this one. I'll go ahead and check that in. And now if I go back to my element and look at my power tag, you can see that it should be using the correct substitution parameters. I get a zone 1 there, a Y110 there, and actually I probably want to reset to template to bring that in. Let's go check the zone 2 blower. And you can see it's using the correct substitution parameters. It's using a Y210 tag. It has zone 2 and a blower in here. We check a chiller. You can see that it's using the name chiller for the descriptor in zone 2. So all these substitution parameters are working correctly, and I can go ahead and use these to build my tags out. So now if I wanted to go through and build a new piece of equipment based on my equipment template, I could go through and build out all the power tags exactly as specified here, and not have to go through the extra step of using the PyTag configurator or PySystem management tools to build out that tag manually. So now I have all of my tag configuration attributes set up for my power attribute. I'll go ahead and check that in. Now that we've seen how to set up the tag configuration for tag building through AF for the power attribute, I'm going to go ahead and do the same for our other PyPoint data references in the equipment and blower templates. First, I'll start with the status. Come in here and get my reference tag. And then for fan speed from the blower template. So for now, I'm just adding these settings from these reference tags, and then I'll use the PyBuilder to do the rest. Okay, let's go ahead and check those in. I'll jump back to our PyBuilder here. And import. That's our equipment. And our blower templates. Data reference and config strings to be sufficient. And then we can do the same sorting that we did before to find only the PyPoint data references. And remove rows that we don't want. And now I can do a little bit of, oops. Find and replace. So, just double checking, it looks like anywhere that I find blower in here, I can replace with that substitution parameter for the equipment type. Should be 3, okay. Then scripter, anywhere that there's a zone 1, can do zone plus the substitution parameter. The replacements there. And the last one's going to be, if there is an 11, I want to replace it with this pair of substitution parameters that I've been using for tag names throughout. So I shouldn't see any 110s anywhere. So here you can see where I had a 11 before. It's been replaced by that pair of substitution parameters for the zone number and equipment code. And same thing here. So go ahead and export these changes back to the database. See my Pi Builder tab. Okay. Now if I refresh here, should see that I have all my substitution parameters placed correctly. So shaft vibration frequency looks good. Fan speed looks good. And status looks good. So now all my PyPoint data references and my templates are set up to do tag creation. So if I go and add a new zone, all my tags can be automatically created for the equipment. Let's go ahead and check all those changes in. And next we'll look at creating a new zone.